On this episode of Rust Rescue, Vince and LeeAnn brace the body of the 1949 Plymouth and lift the body off the frame. Then LeeAnn heads over to the Red Rose Festival to check out the classic car show.
I'm Vince, but everybody calls me Taz. I've been building custom hot rods since I was a kid. I couldn't afford to buy one, so I learned how to build them. This is my partner LeeAnn. When she's not out shopping for cars, she's racing them. Our team rescues rusty old wrecks, and we'll teach you how to restore them for just $10,000. Why are you only going to give me $10,000?
You're going to be lucky if your wife lets you spend that much.
That's true. So if you're not afraid to pick up a wrench and get your hands dirty, we'll show you the right parts, tools, and techniques to get the job done. This is Rust Rescue.
What's up?
Hey, how far are you?
I'm about 15 minutes out.
Okay, just a heads up, they got the Red Rose Festival in town.
What is that?
Well, they're going to have the street closed off, you know, a bunch of food, some music, and they're actually going to have a car show, all classic cars.
Oh, wow, that sounds like something I want to check out.
Okay, yeah, just come here first because I need help with this Plymouth.
All right, I'm on my way. See you soon. We are getting ready to take the body off the frame of our Plymouth project. As you can see, we got the fenders and the bumper off, we got the interior out, so now we want to put a different frame under the car. When we were tearing out the interior of the Plymouth, we found several very interesting things. We found some newspaper clippings that look like they could actually be from 1949, and we found some great examples of what we call ninjaneering. Somebody had used expanding foam to try and seal the car and to fill in some of the many holes, and that just doesn't work. And we also found something that can be very dangerous. They had taken galvanized steel, this is from South Africa, and bolted it over the holes in the floor pans. This is a bad idea. Galvanized steel is steel that has been coated in zinc oxide to protect it from rust, which is great, but you cannot weld it, you cannot use a plasma cutter on it. Anything that heats this up will release those zinc oxide fumes, and those could kill you. It's called galvanized poisoning or metal fume fever, and it has the symptoms of a flu, but it can actually be fatal. So we fortunately were able to get this off because it was just screwed on and not welded on. But if you find galvanized steel anywhere in a car, be very careful getting it out. You can use an air chisel or hope it's just screwed in, or hope that the person before you was not a DIY dumbass and used it in the first place. While we were inspecting the floor of the car, getting ready to cut the floor pans out, we discovered that the structural braces have completely rusted out. Now, if you remember from the Trans Am project, before you cut out your floor pans, you have to make sure you have the structural braces under the car in good shape. Otherwise, if you cut the floor pans out, the whole car is going to go pfft. We were going to have to brace this car anyway to take the body off, so we're just going to go ahead and brace it before we cut the floor pans out. That way, we know the car is going to be good to go. Now, the type of metal that you need to brace the car is 1x1 square tubing. You're going to need 8-foot lengths and 6-foot lengths. We got ours at just a local metal supply store or building supply store, and we spent about $125. So I'm going to grab Vince and we're going to start bracing this car.
All right, now that LeeAnn's got all the metal ready to go into the car to brace this car, let me explain how we're going to do this. Originally, we were going to do a cross brace from one corner to the other corner on both sides. But if we do that, we will not be able to get to the floor pans. And we have to get these floor pans cut out to be able to put the new ones in. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So instead of that, we're going to take the metal and go directly 8 inches above the rocker panels, which is the original frame on the car. And go about, like I said, 8 inches, maybe a foot higher so that we can reach under and still get to everything, but the car will be sturdy. Now, this is a 4-door car. You're not going to brace this the same way you would brace a 2-door car. On a 2-door car, you have a smaller doorway, and most of the car is solid, so it will not bend when you pick it up if you brace the doors. With this, it's a much bigger doorway, bigger shell, and then these are going to go breaking free, so if we try to lift this car and we don't brace these these posts here, the car is just basically going to bend and crumble up on us. So, like I mentioned before, 8 inches above, we're going to run our beams, and then we'll be able to start to cut the floor pans out. Let me get a hold of Reese and let her start cleaning off the metal so we can do the welds. Remember when LeeAnn said there was expanding foam in this car? We just found a whole bunch of it. They filled up the A-pillar with it. Holy crapazoid. I got to get all this out now. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to try. Seriously?
Now that Vince and Reese have got the Plymouth braced rather nicely here, it's time to cut out the floor pans. You got to be really careful not to cut out any of the frame of the car or any of these braces. We've got a brace running across widthwise here. That's really important. We're not going to get that. And you don't want to cut along any places where the metal bends or contours, because you usually have a brace there. So we are going to go right along the edge of the rocker panel here and come up and over and cut right about at this line. The safest thing to do is to cut out small sections at a time and listen to the metal. It'll talk to you. If you hear any popping sounds or feel the car drop on you, that means you cut something you shouldn't and you need to stop. So we're just going to cut out small sections at a time and work our way around and get going. The gas lines and brake lines are on that side of the frame, so I think I'm clear here, but you always want to make sure you know where the gas lines and the brake lines are so you don't cut through those either. All right, I'm going to get my helmet on and start cutting with fire. Dang it, we got undercoating on top of the metal here that is preventing the plasma torch from creating fire. So I think we're going to have to get out the cutting wheel. Dang it, so much slower. With the cutting wheel is you go through a lot of blades, but on the positive side, I think I figured out what was on fire. Yeah, all this junk. All right, I'm gonna go get another cutting blade and finish this up. While the team is working on the body of our Plymouth, I'm starting to look to the future to think about what we're going to do with all of these little chrome pieces. Rechroming is very expensive, but I found this liquid chrome paint system from the folks over at Eastwood. It comes with a black base coat with an activator, the liquid chrome paint, and a clear coat. And you can use this to literally re-chrome all the little pieces on the car. I wanted to see how it was going to work, so I took a piece and experimented. You can see what it looked like when I started out, and we applied all the steps of the chrome paint system, and that actually looks pretty darn good. When you're talking about re-chroming a car, a bumper alone can run you $1,000 to $1,500, and that's for one bumper. That's not even including all the little pieces like the headlight rings and all of the trim and your door handles. So doing a full re-chroming job, that could take up your full $10,000 budget easy. But this system from Eastwood with the liquid chrome paint is just 140 bucks. And even though the sizes are pretty small, they say it covers about a 10 to 15 square foot area. So get a couple of these and you can re-chrome at least all the little pieces on your car. We might even do it for the bumper on the Plymouth, but I'm pretty impressed with Eastwood's liquid chrome paint.
All right, now that we've got all the metal cut out of this car, we have to take all the chassis bolts out so we can get this body off of this frame. If you look at these bolts, they're basically non-existent. So you have little nubs that are sticking out in a pile of rust where before they were actually a bolt. So you're not going to be able to get a socket on these. So we have to get the cutting tools out and start cutting the heads of the bolt off. All you need to do is just do the head of the bolt. Don't try to cut the actual shaft of the bolt, because if you break this beam or you cut this beam, you're going to have a problem. So let's see what we got. Damn it! LeeAnn, I set myself on fire again!
Now that the chassis bolts are out and Vince is no longer on fire, it's time to lift the body of our 1949 Plymouth off the frame. I did notice that the guys forgot to disconnect the steering rack, so they're going to take care of that first. There are several different ways that you can lift the body of a car off of its frame. You can use a forklift, but those are expensive to rent and they take a lot of space to move around. One of the safest and easiest ways is to use a two-post lift and use the arms to lift the body of the car off of the frame. Unfortunately, our lifts are ancient and they're in ground, so the center post would raise up and hit the frame before we could lift the body up. So since that's not an option and we're too cheap to run a forklift, we're going to use the cheap and sketchy way. Here's what we're going to use. We've got a couple sturdy jacks and some jack stands. If you have adjustable metal sawhorses, that's even better. We've got some 4x4 wood blocks, and we're going to use some 1x1 inch steel tubing that we use to brace the body of the Plymouth as our support beam. This looks really small, but it's actually extremely strong. So what we're going to do is jack up the body little by little until it's high enough to roll the frame out from underneath it without dropping the car. This is what we call ninjaneering.
Okay, we cannot get the rear trunk brace to clear the center of the car. So what we're gonna do, and we say don't try this at home, but you probably have to, is drop the rear wheels down onto some dollies so we get that rear trunk brace as low as possible and hopefully slide the chassis out from underneath the car. Either it's gonna work or the car is gonna fall on us. Either way, the chassis will be off the car. We'll figure out later on just if we need doctors or I should bottle of champagne.
Oh, well,
You're gonna hit?
no, we're gonna have a problem.
What do you mean?
It's gonna hit the bar.
What bar? Oh, you f***. It's still not high enough. Okay, we got the car as far down as it's gonna go. We got it on the dollies, and it's still 3 inches too high. So, I think what we're gonna do is grab the engine hoist, lift the rear of the car up, and hopefully that's gonna work, because if not, I'm out of ideas. Oh, my back. Okay, now stand clear, because this is either gonna work or fall. Are we clear? Yes, sir. Is the bumpers clear of your? No, push it to me a little bit, I got room. Okay, that's good. Okay. Keep going. Now that the frame is out from under the cart, we're gonna have to put it on something to be able to roll it around. So we're gonna put it on an auto body cart. You can buy them from anywhere from $300 up to about $1,000, even a little bit more. I'm cheap, I don't want to spend that kind of money. So I had some metal laying around, I got my Lincoln welder, and I went to the local hardware store and got myself some wheels. The whole thing cost me $35. Now we're ready to go. All right. I can sit here and say don't try this at home, but unfortunately if you want to do this kind of a restoration, you have to do it. Be very, very careful. As you saw what we were doing, can be very dangerous. If you drop the car off of there, number one, you can get hurt, and number two, you'll damage the car and you won't be able to fix it. As my partner LeeAnn says, this is NINJANEERING at its finest. I'm gonna go take a shower and I'm going home because I'm tired. Bye.
Now that we're done working on that Plymouth for the day, I'm gonna head over to the Red Rose Festival here in Lancaster. I hear there's a car show, and I wanna see what kind of cars our neighbors have turned out. My gosh. Now that is what I'm talking about. This is a rust rescue. Is this your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm LeeAnn.
Hello, Brian.
Brian, oh, did you do this yourself?
I turned every bolt on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell me about it. What year is this?
It's a 55 F100. The cab and bed is sitting on a 1996 Explorer chassis.
Okay, so you modernized the chassis.
Yes, it's got
Very smart.
all updated modern engine, fuel injection, overdrive transmission, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. And this is, what did you do in the fix? This is what's called the patina finish, and it's so popular right now. I love it. What did you do to get this look?
The truck basically was like you see it when I got it. Somebody had spray bombed over the original red paint, and I took a DA and kind of brought the red back, got rid of a little bit of the black,
and it just naturally came out like this.
Naturally came out like
That's
this.
amazing. See, folks, you can do so many unique things. You don't have to do a full restoration. You can just show off the paint job that was already there and show off your rust. Can I ask how much you have spent total on the vehicle? Do you know?
I paid $1,500 for the 55. I paid $600 for a complete running, driving 96 Explorer.
Nice.
So add that up, plus wheels, tires, new bushings, new shocks to make it very streetable. A little bit of money on the interior and just upgrades here and there. I'm probably in the truck for maybe $5 grand total.
That's half of our $10,000 rust rescue budget. Brian, thank you so much for sharing this with me. This is what I'm talking about. Check out this 1970 Barracuda. If you're gonna do Mopar, there is only one color, and that is plum crazy purple. Dang, that's beautiful. Ooh. I just love these old trucks. This looks like it's an early 50s Ford F1. I just love the round, bulbous fenders. This is just what a classic car should be. And with the white sidewalls. Nice. This is awesome. What the heck is it?
Believe it or not, this is a 1998 Ford Ranger.
Wow. Oh, you got some pistons on the bumper here. What are these, pennies?
Yep, for good luck, heads up.
Who built this car?
Was built by the automotive students at Andrew Jackson High School.
High school students built this?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, this was a part of a class project?
Absolutely, it was a year-long project. We had money donated by Jim Harper of Harper Corporation, gave us a grant to build a rat rod. Stipulations were, had to have at least 10 different vehicles, parts from 10 different vehicles, and it had to be completed within a year.
A Franken car.
Exactly.
We like Franken cars at Rust Rescue, so that's kind of our jam. So
cool deal.
How much did you guys spend to build this?
This truck had a $5,000 budget.
Okay. Oh wow, that's half of what our budget is.
And we spent every bit of it, and then probably has a few donations of things here and there. So
wow. So what kind of parts have you used? What vehicles are represented in this montage?
Okay, as I said, we started out with a 1998 Ford Ranger pickup. The engine came out of a 1990 F-150, so it does have a 5-liter engine, but we changed it over to carbureted and put a pretty good camshaft in it because we like cams.
So you went backwards. Most people are putting fuel injectors on previously carbureted engines. You went back old school.
Well, we went old school with it, but we also added 2 more cylinders, so it's no longer a V6, it's now a V8. So
nice.
That's what we were going for ultimately. Obviously, with a bigger engine, there's not as much room under the hood, so we had to run our exhaust out the front. The headers are actually put on upside down because they would not clear the frame rails, and they come out and out the front. Okay, and these pipes right here, I don't know if you recognize it or not, is off of an LX Mustang. So from a Fox body LX Mustang, we have our exhaust pipes.
Did you find all these at a junkyard?
Well, I kind of drag race a little bit, so any parts that I take off don't usually get thrown away. So this is all
leftover parts
exactly.
lying around. It's amazing what you can do with what is already in your garage.
Exactly.
This is amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I love this, and I think we're going to try and recruit some of your students to come help us over at Rust Rescue. How would
that would be great. I've got some students that would love that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I love the Rat Ranger.
Thank you so much.
I cannot believe how many beautiful classic cars came out right here in our neighborhood of Lancaster, South Carolina. This is an impressive turnout. But it is 95 degrees and I need some water and I need some ice cream and I need some AC, so I'm out of here.